One of the biggest matches on WrestleMania on either night, and all people can talk about is just the centerpiece of it all. And if you're guessing it's a title that I'm talking about, you would be wrong, because the centerpiece is Paul Heyman. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Wicked Bitter channel. I'm Travis. Thank you for checking out this video. If you are somebody who's new here and you love pro wrestling, you love WWE, well, my friend, I got some good news for you. This is the channel for you. I'm being dead honest with you. For real. Like, this is WrestleMania season. This is the best time of year for a lot of people. You're going to want to be in a place where you can talk about wrestling with other wrestling fans. If you go back and you look at the comments and other videos I got, there's everybody talking about wrestling. We all talk to each other about wrestling. That's the whole purpose of this channel. I'm a wrestling fan just like everyone else, and I want to talk to other wrestling fans about wrestling. Why wouldn't you want to be here for that? Oh boy, my friends, man, I'm excited. I'm pumped. WrestleMania is just a few days away. We have prediction videos coming out later on in the week. But this video in particular, I wanted to talk about something. I want to dig in a little bit more into the triple threat match between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk, because it's kind of morphed, right? It's kind of started out with, they got all eliminated from the Royal Rumble together, like one after another. They all, Punk eliminated both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Of course, Roman Reigns has the history with Seth Rollins turning on him. Seth Rollins helped Cody Rhodes win the title from Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania. There's a lot of branches to this story, so it started off that way. It started off with these guys all hating each other, to now it's gone all the way into who gets to be with Paul Heyman. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how it happened. You got CM Punk wanting favors. You got Seth Rollins wanting favors. You got Roman Reigns saying he'll never ask for a favor from anybody. Wild. Hands down, this is the most interested I am in a match for WrestleMania this year. And that's not to say that the other matches are not good, because there are plenty of other good matches on WrestleMania that I'm actually looking forward to a bunch. But because of so many things that's happened in the past few weeks with this storyline in particular, I kind of wanted to spend some time talking about it, because the other videos where I do prediction videos, I'm not going to spend as much time. I'm just kind of going to go through saying who I think wins, and I'm not going to leave too much explanation for it. So I want to devote enough time to this. Where do we begin? I think a lot of people have been starting to think, right? I think it started with people thinking that Paul Heyman is going to betray Roman Reigns and he's going to side with CM Punk. I started feeling that way. I was saying that Paul Heyman is going to turn on Reigns and he's going to leave with Punk. And now I think the majority, or a big portion of people, are now thinking that Paul Heyman is going to leave WrestleMania with Seth Rollins. Part of me thinks that because a lot of people think that way now, WWE won't go that way. But just an early spoiler here, I think, for as far as my prediction for that match goes, early prediction here, before the prediction videos come out, I think that Seth Rollins is going to win that triple threat match at WrestleMania. And I think Paul Heyman's going to go with him. Look at just the way things have gone the past few weeks. I've paid attention a lot to Paul Heyman, especially when he's in the background. WWE does this a lot now, where you have to pay attention to the details, right? Everybody went back to last year where, The Rock's face was on, the trucks in the parking lot with John Cena, all that stuff. Everybody says that it's all linked to something. So nowadays, everybody tries to latch on to something, see it in the background, and say, hey, that means something. And I'm one of those people to a degree. I do believe that. But something I've also tried to do is pay attention to Paul Heyman in these promos or backstage scenes or whatever it may be. A couple of weeks ago, and this is where my thought originated from. A couple of weeks ago on SmackDown, Paul Heyman was there and he was waiting for the arrival of Roman Reigns, but he was waiting for him while he was in the parking lot. And at some point, a truck pulled up. It's normally a truck that Roman Reigns looks like he's usually coming to the show in, but instead, Seth Rollins comes out of the truck, comes out of the SUV. Paul Heyman looks so upset about it. And just something about the visual about Seth Rollins putting his arm on over Paul Heyman's shoulder makes me think, like, I don't know. I kind of want to see this pairing. I want to see these two work together. And something Seth Rollins said to Paul, he said, I've had some time now to formulate a plan. Ever since he said that, it's been stuck on me. What would the plan be? I don't think the plan was for him to hold back on stomping him on Monday Night Raw last week. I don't think it was that. I think Seth has a broader, bigger plan. The reason why I think Seth Rollins is going to win this triple threat match, and this was before the favor from Heyman even came into play. I thought this. I thought Seth would win this match because maybe his plan is to take Paul Heyman away from both CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And to me, it makes sense. It makes sense because Seth Rollins hates Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins absolutely hates CM Punk. But who does CM Punk and Roman Reigns love? They love Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman also loves them. Paul Heyman is torn between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So what better way for Seth Rollins to get back and really drive a knife into the chest of CM Punk and Roman Reigns than to take away CM Punk's best friend and Roman Reigns' Wiseman? What better way to become the ultimate disgusted heel than to do that to a fan favorite in CM Punk and a beloved tribal chief? I think Seth Rollins has a plan to take Paul Heyman away. And this past Monday Night on Raw, when Reigns was in the ring with his promo with Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman stood behind Roman Reigns. Paul made a few faces. You know, let me go back before that. The week before that, when it was just Rollins and Paul Heyman in the ring together, before the stomp the stomp to Heyman almost happened, all that, before CM Punk came rushing down, Seth Rollins was talking to Paul. He was trying to talk to Paul and tell him, hey, look, who was when CM Punk left, did he take you with him? Did he come back for you? No. And Paul Heyman looked like he was finally realizing, like, no, you're right. Actually, you're right. Reigns left me high and dry after WrestleMania last year. CM Punk, 10 years ago when he left, he didn't take me with him. So Seth Rollins is already planting these seeds in Paul Heyman's mind, saying, these guys are not who you think they are. They are using you. And I think that's part of Seth Rollins' plan, the big plan, not the favor. I think he has this plan. So let's shoot to last Monday Night on Raw, where Seth Rollins was talking to Roman Reigns. And the stuff that he was saying to Roman Reigns, it's like he was trying to create a divide between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. But some of the things he was saying to Roman Reigns, if you watched Paul Heyman's face, something about it gives me the feeling that Paul Heyman is going to side with Seth Rollins. I've said this before. Wouldn't it be crazy if Paul Heyman actually legitimately turned on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, where he actually physically got involved? You know, everybody that turns their back on Roman Reigns are always the people who he's closest to. Reigns never turns on anybody. Everybody always turns on Reigns. Jimmy, Jay, Solo, everybody. Everybody that Reigns is close to, Sammy, they all turn on him. Why wouldn't the Wiseman do the same thing? Why wouldn't the Wiseman throw a chair in the ring for Seth Rollins? Or better yet, why doesn't the Wiseman find himself in the ring at the same time as a chair is in the ring, pick it up, and he cracks Reigns over the back with it? Why wouldn't we get something like this? Why wouldn't we get something like this to add to the story? Because here's what I'm thinking. After WrestleMania is over, if we're going to go through the pattern of how the things have gone in the past few years, after WrestleMania is done, Roman Reigns is most likely, just by judging off the pattern of events, this is not confirmed, this is not rumors, this is just my mind. After the past few years, Roman Reigns, after WrestleMania, he takes a leave of absence. He goes away for a month or two, maybe longer. Why wouldn't that happen this time? What would make this year different? I could see Roman Reigns taking time off, but Paul Heyman still having something to do with either siding with CM Punk or siding with Seth Rollins. If Paul Heyman sides with CM Punk, I don't think it would work, only because CM Punk is so beloved as a babyface right now that if you put them together, I don't know if they operate the way they used to as a babyface and babyface duo. You know what I mean? Punk doesn't need anyone to speak for him. But when Punk was a heel, it was still true that he didn't need anyone to speak for him, but the fact that they were heels, it worked. You know what I mean? They both could speak, or Paul could just admire CM Punk as CM Punk spoke. But it's different as two baby faces. It doesn't really jive. It doesn't really mesh well. Like, it'd be a nice visual. It'd be fun as fans for us to see Paul Heyman and CM Punk back together week after week. But to me, it only works if CM Punk is a heel and Paul Heyman is a heel. But what if you had, while Roman Reigns takes his absence, supposedly, I'm just guessing, I'm just assuming that Reigns will go away for a month or two, or maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. But while Reigns is gone, why wouldn't it be a great way to have a feud between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, an actual feud, similar to the one that Punk had with Drew, where it's drawn out for months. They faced each other on a Monday Night Raw. A couple of times. It didn't do what it can do. There's still more to this. There's still more to Punk and Rollins. It would make so much sense to have Paul Heyman be at the side of Seth Rollins, not because Seth needs someone to speak for him. And who knows, maybe it'll be Seth holding Paul Heyman against his own will, being his manager. Seth mentioned on Monday Night Raw, it's up to Paul Heyman if he chooses to pay back the favor that Rollins has. Now, we've talked about in another video that this is not how favors usually work. You can't just say, hey, I didn't punch you in the face, so now you owe me a favor. That's not how it works. But apparently, this is what they're rolling with in WWE. This is what they're going to go with. So, does Paul Heyman pay off the debt of a favor that he owes to Seth Rollins in Seth Rollins' mind? Paul Heyman's in a place right now where can he actually say that, no, I don't owe you a favor to Seth Rollins, especially if his tribal chief is going to leave? I don't know. There's just something about it that makes too much sense to me. And if you're not sold on it, that's fine. If you don't agree with me, that's more than okay. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your opinions on it. But for me, I think once WrestleMania is over, and let's just supposedly say that Roman Reigns takes a little bit of a leave, you can still pick up a fiery feud with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, but with Paul Heyman in Seth Rollins' corner. And I think you can take that rivalry all the way through SummerSlam. You could actually go with that for that long. And I think it would be as interesting and as fiery as it should be. Let me know your thoughts, my friends. That's just my 2 cents. Just as what I think. Of course, we got the prediction videos coming out later on this week. I'm going to do 2 separate ones, one for night 1 and obviously one for night 2. I can't wait. WrestleMania is this weekend. I'm ecstatic. I'm trying to fly through work so I can get it done and get to this weekend because I got some plans to hang out with some friends and family to watch WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be a great time. I hope you all get to enjoy it as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you agree, disagree, your different idea or opinion off of what, different than mine, I would love to hear it regardless. But yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of the week. I will see you on the next video. Until we yeet again, my friends, as always, stay bitter.